The two other copies that didn't get picked up, I gave to our local senior center. They're still using it
Yeah,
for their visually impaired computer class. It's the only computer class they have.
Okay.
And I do realize a ton and a half of your people are Apple, and this is all Windows stuff because I'm a Windows kid.
okay.
And I
So,
imagine that Macs do the exact same thing.
yeah, Ellen asked, how do I activate this or that feature? And now she's gonna make me actually look it up. Which is not a problem. I think the help screens for Apple are at least as good as everyone else's. And sometimes, especially in settings, you just put in a word that defines it. It pulls it into context, so, yeah, I'll get it for
So
you.
there is a pad,
Oh, God, yes. Oh,
there's a special password that Apple gives to get on the dictation.
oh, you mean to activate their, this, I think Siri is theirs. Yeah,
Okay.
all you have to do is enable it on your machine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I would tell my students when we would go from one version of Windows to the next, and they'd go, I just got this done and I've not got to learn something new. And I'd say, hey, use the search. You know what you want. Just put it in the search bar and it'll take you right to it. You know how to use it. And I said, over time, you will eventually learn where it is. And they thought that was the greatest thing that came down the pike. I use that all the time. I don't worry about, navigating to something. I'll just search by the one word and brings it right up.
So it's not specific to the machine.
No, it's to the version of the software.
Okay.
And essentially everyone is on the same software version because Apple does updates. Oh, hi Gabe. Does updates frequently.
Mr. Goldberg always looks the same.
No, well, when he doesn't have his camera on, you can do that.
Well, I know, but he might be a lot older looking now. We don't know.
Well, the sad part is that I no longer have access to that balcony overlooking the DC skyline, so I'm not sure I can top that picture.
See, he could have a lot more wrinkles and we're clueless. The rest of us have to let it all hang out.
This could be Chat GPT speaking, and you'll never know.
But that is true.
I've never heard, can it sign up into a Zoom meeting?
Not yet, but stay tuned.
Any rate, the recordings, we haven't set up our website yet, so all of our recordings previous sit in this one PC, and then we'll when we can when we get the space and the setup for our website, we'll be doing it.
Right.
We're getting on to we'll start pretty quickly. Mr. Young, how are you? James.
I just made you a co-host so you can answer the door, so to speak.
Good.
I'm giving my presentation.
Okay.
That sometimes works. It usually doesn't because people are paying attention to the presentation. So I just have to casually let them in. And then you have to remember to click on your screen again or it doesn't work.
Yeah. And I do on our local machine. Where did it go? I don't see anybody waiting.
The camera that she has, she looks so good.
Well, she has a virtual background. Even in California, it doesn't look that good. And yes, is it a special, is it a non-standard camera because you do this often enough, Judy?
Say again,
Is the camera something special or
what camera?
that you use for your own?
Haven't a clue.
Right.
That's a 1,000-year-old picture of Gabe. That's nothing new. He's had that forever.
I know that.
I know you haven't known him as long as I have. It's been
But at least it's old enough to be genuine. It's not something I created with one of the new artistic AI
no,
features.
no, that's been you for a gazillion years.
Well, and you've actually seen me in person, so you know
Oh, I
that
know.
picture is some resemblance.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to step out of the room.
See, he's actually a spy. That's why he's wearing sunglasses.
All right.
Ah. James' iPad is going to like part of my presentation, I think.
All right. What we have in the way of props, that's. We do make get these well attended, hopefully, when we have the we'll have people coming back. Whenever you're ready.
That would be whenever I'm ready,
That's correct.
anytime you are.
Very good. Okay. This is a special presentation for by Leisure World Tech from Judy Taylor of APCUG. This is not her first time to this particular rodeo. And it is did you just let them in? Thank you.
Mhm.
So good. And what we're talking about is technologies, which are the things that make computers much easier to use when you have limitations in dexterity, sight, hearing, and last week, Judy, just so you're aware, one of our own members gave a talk on the non-compute
Technology.
Yep, could you mute yourself? On the non-computed technologies, namely Alexa, which you tend to use of. But this is on use of computer. And hang on a second. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Okay, so Judy, why don't you begin? And we're all ready for you.
Okay, thank you very much. And we just have a couple of people that need to mute themselves. I will answer questions at the end of the presentation. And my name is Judy Taylor, and I am 35 miles northwest of Los Angeles as we speak.
This way, yeah, right there.
And this presentation is about accessibility. Help, can't see, can't hear, can't touch. It's all about accessibility. And I figured I can't offend anybody with that title because the president of a group about an hour east of me, that's his. He can't see very well, he can't hear very well, and his touch is going south too, so he came up with that title. I am the president of the SCV Computer Club. I'm also an APCUG advisor, which means the contact person for, and a member of APCUG Speakers Bureau. That is one of your group's benefits of membership. So I just added this about 20 minutes ago, and I thought I'd start with prevention. On the upper left, when I was using a laptop, and I used a 17-inch Toshiba laptop for many years, I went through 4 of them. I'm into ergonomics because I don't want a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about happen to me. So I put my laptop on top of a printer stand. I had an ergonomically correct keyboard and mouse. And this mouse pad doesn't show there, but that's the mouse pad I used when I was sitting at my computer table. And when you are sitting using your laptop or your computer, this is the way you need to be sitting. So you don't get a lot of stuff that is specifically what you get when you are using your equipment the wrong way. If you have a laptop, the keyboards, they're not really meant to be used all the time. They were put together for kids going to college back in the day. And they're so popular with seniors because they sometimes don't have room for a desktop and things like that. But that's why I always used an ergonomic keyboard and mouse. When I would take my computer into my meeting, I took all 3 pieces with me and 2 decks of cards. And that's what I put on the back of my laptop to make it, the monitor come up a little bit more, because as you can see, whatever you are using needs to be at eye level. So you are not ruining your neck by bending over. This is what's going to happen with all the kids who are using their smartphones with, you know, their chins almost on their chest. My 3 oldest, I get after them all the time, and they just look at me like I'm crazy. And then I'll say, hey, Tyler, Scotty, and Jack, stand up straight. And you know, the kid that's over 6 feet, now you look at him and he's over 6 feet because his back and his neck are hunched over. So accessibility and assistive technology has been designed for the needs of a whole bunch of different users. And we're going to talk about some software, hardware, peripherals, accessible and assistive tech to make our computer, phone, or tablet easier to use. And the other thing that I needed to mention on the first slide is I wear computer glasses. I wear bifocals. I've worn bifocals since my kids were in elementary school, which was a gazillion years ago. And my bifocal are reading, they can't see the screen. My top part is for distance, that wasn't working. And one of the optometrists I went to, he said, you need computer glasses. Right out of my mouth came, you just want more money, don't you? And it's the best thing I have ever had. It's my bifocal, set at a focal point, how far I sit from the monitor, which you measure from your nose to your screen. And they are absolutely fantastic. I can also read my copy if I'm typing from something. So we need to think about creating accessible documents. You can do that when you are using Word. How this presentation came about in 2021 was the North Texas group. They were talking at a board meeting and somebody said, what kind of presentation would you like? Oh, accessibility. Let's ask Judy if she'll put one together. And I thought, how cool, I will do that. So this is a copy of the email that I sent them. And you'll notice it says no accessibility issues found. People with disabilities should be able to read that with no problem. And I still have that turned on, and most of my stuff that I put together is accessible. And I find that interesting. It's just the way I use the words. And this was something I sent out for a virtual technology conference. And again, anybody supposedly would be able to read it and understand it. And that's in Word. And I know you can use Word if you're using Macs, but you just file options, ease of access, and make your choices for doing it. Repetitive strain injury is the PITS. It can affect your hands, your wrists, your arms, your neck, your upper back, your elbow, and it's due to us using the wrong chair. We don't have the right, devices and equipment when we are doing repetitive motions, i.e. wrong keyboard and mouse. And you get carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, bursitis, mouse shoulder. And when I worked at Cigna Corporate in Glendale, I was diagnosed with tennis elbow. And it was from using my mouse incorrectly. And I laughed hysterically because I am the most non-athletic person in the world. And hey, you guys, mom has tennis elbow. This is what happens when you get it in your carpal tunnel on your wrist. This gal at the senior center walked by me and I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, "Hi, did you happen to have carpal tunnel surgery?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Could I take your picture, please?" I had no clue who she was. And she was very happy to share her hand with me so I could share it with people that I give presentations to. So you don't want that to happen. And you get it in all of those things. And you can use sticky keys. And if you press the shift key 5 times, that turns the sticky keys on. So when you are using shift, control, or alt, by pressing them one at a time, that means you don't need to hold them down. You just press them. And if you're doing control, alt, delete, and you have to keep those all 3 keys held down, you don't need to if you've got sticky keys on. And that prevents you from putting pressure on your wrists or your elbows, whatever. You can also have your keyboard on your screen if you have a touch screen. It's just not working with any kind of keyboard that you've tried, but for some reason this works for you. You can use one of those pointers with the rubber tip to type very easily. It's just an option. If you have low vision, that is huge, but it also works if your wrists hurt when you type. And I find this invaluable. It doesn't make any difference whether you have low vision or not, as far as I'm concerned. You need to get a ding when you are pressing the tab key, and you also get the caps lock key too, which is your shift key. And I like the fact that I get a little ding that lets me know I've done that. I can press it again to make it go off, because you get tired of typing away and then looking up at your screen and find that everything is in all caps. So hearing that happen works great for somebody with low vision, or anybody as far as I'm concerned. And the same thing with the num lock. You go over there and you want to key in numbers for something, and you're getting an asterisk, you're getting page up, page down, and stuff like that. Oops, you accidentally pressed the num locks key and took it off the number feature. You can change your mouse pointer to any color you want to, any size you want to, that helps. When I put this all together, I found out that everything almost in this part of it, I was doing when setting up my own computers or a computer for any senior. They'd get a new computer and they'd say, "Can you come over and help me set it up?" No problem. High visibility green is a favorite color, but I really couldn't stand it after I did that. My mouse is large, extra large, and it's all black. So it is very easy for me to see. And you can also change the pointer size and make it larger, make the hand larger, or make it a shocking pink if that's a color that you like, or a purple or a bright yellow. It's anything that you can do to help you see those things on the screen much more easy. And I have my mouse set for single click. It opens everything, and I don't have to think about, gosh, did I double click? Did I double click fast enough? I just set it to single click. So when I get that mouse up there, my large mouse, it's a single click. And again, that helps my wrist, my elbow, whatever. And you're off and running. You could also change your cursor speed. I have people say, number one, I can't find my cursor. Well, you need to make it larger. And one will say, it blinks so fast, I really can't see it because it's blinking so fast. Is there anything I can do? Absolutely. You can slow it down so your eyeballs can actually see it blinking. And it scrolls too many lines for you. You would rather have it scroll one line at a time because you read one line at a time more easy than three. You can also change how many lines it will scroll. You can add a, there's your speed, fast or slow, and pointer tails. If there is just, you cannot see the mouse no matter how large you've made it, you can choose pointer tails. And that, as you move it around your screen, it drags these little trail behind it. So it makes it easier to see. You can also, if again, you can't see it very well, you can check the bottom box that says show location of pointer when I press the control key. It's gonna put a circle around it and say, hi there, here it is. You need to decide, is this the best for you? The one is 100%. I have not looked at anything 100% for 1,000 years. My standard is 125%. With 125% in my browsers, in my Word, my PowerPoint, my Excel, perish the thought, I can easily, see everything on one screen. I don't have to scroll to get to the end, the side of my document, the end of my spreadsheet, etc. There's 175%. Everything is huge, it's wide, but with this, you're going to need to scroll to see the right-hand side. And you have to decide. People swear that it is easier for them to use the high contrast white on black to see everything much better. Drives me crazy. I've tried it, and it's something that I can't use. It just might be because I've been using computers for over 35 years and I'm just used to black on white. I don't know what it is. Bill James, Oklahoma group, he uses 100%. I hate him. He must have really good eyeballs and he's old just like the rest of us. And he wears contacts. But he uses the 100% white on black. And when he gives a presentation, we have to go, psst, Bill, you got to make it bigger so we can see it. He sees it just fine. And here's the different sizes of your menu. 100, 125, 150. And here's what I look at. It's just something that I like, and I said, it's maybe not for low vision people. I don't know, but this works for me. And again, mine is in the middle. I have the larger buttons to push, the whole 9 yards. And your desktop icons, small, medium, and large. I have medium. It's easier for me to quickly find. Again, I've worn glasses since I was in elementary school. My eyes are not the best in the world, but I like the larger icons just because I, can find them and look at them more quickly than the smaller ones. The one on the right is large. I wouldn't like that. But also, I don't have many icons on my desktop any longer, nor do I go there to find them. But back in the day, I was a medium kid. You can change the size of your taskbar from 100%, I'm 125, all the way up to 175. And when you do this, you just have to experiment. Remember where you started out. You have to have paper and pencil right next to your keyboard and write down where you start. And then as you start using this technical word, mucking around with everything, you write where you started so you don't have to think, oh gosh, was it 100% or was it 125? You look at your paper and, oh, I had chosen 125. I like that. But hey, now I like 150 better. You decide. And if you are helping somebody with their computer, because we're the computer people that know about stuff like this, and we have friends and relatives who don't necessarily know as much as we do, have them sitting right next to you and say, which one do you like best? Which one works for you? You can make your text bigger. Again, on the left is the regular sample text. That's what you get when you turn your computer on, at least a Windows computer. And you can move that bar over and make it however large you would like. And that's what I use. That's my setting right there. There's also a magnifier. It takes some skill to use the magnifier. It's something that you have to play with. And so you don't pulling your hair and you don't think you're losing your mind when you're working with it, but you need to go into settings, ease of access, magnifier, and turn it on. And the Windows logo key plus turns it on after you've done that, and escape turns it off. And you can decide to highlight the whole screen that you're looking at or just one area. You can dock it full screen, or you can pretend like it's a magnifying glass and you just want to highlight one part of your screen. And this tells you all different ways where you can change it. And here's the magnifier. Up on the left, that's my 125 up there. And for some reason, I can't see something on a document or whatever. I use 200 and it just jumps out at you. Again, you would decide what magnification you want. And one of my members told me this. I taught Word for 22 years and never knew this. I was just shocked that I didn't. And I taught that to adult ed through our local high school. And Sean Metcalf attends all our Wednesday workshop, raised his hand and said, hey, Judy, have you heard about this with Word? And I said, tell me. He had me go into a document and he said, choose page width. I thought I died and went to heaven. My whole Arial 12, which is business standard, and I still act like I work, but I was working then. And this fills the whole entire page and makes it so much easier to see. And you can see there is 121% of like font size 12. It doesn't print out this way. It prints out as an 11.5 page document, but it is so much easier to work on, work with. When you save it at this page width, you open it up, it's still set like that. I wish I could make it my default view, but apparently I can't. And it just works wonders with making a document, the font, the size, everything, so much easier to deal with. And here's Arial 12 up at the top and down at the bottom. It's the same words, only I have chosen page width. look how much easier that is to read. You also might want to think about using dual monitors. This is just a setup. I have a 27-inch monitor here and a desktop. They stopped making Logitech laptops years ago, and I have yet to find a laptop that I really like my Logitech. So that's an old one there. And that's just this little 32-inch smart screen TV. A lot of people have a 32-inch TV to the next to them, or they have another 27-inch monitor. At our Wednesday workshop yesterday, afterwards, I asked John about something and if he could see something. And he said yes, because he was actually looking at his 32-inch monitor that he had. So you could plug one of those in if you have the space. I just don't have the space. That's another way to make it so much easier to work with what is on your screen. And that's anything that comes up on your screen, whether it's website, whatever. Because this is where I work. But I am looking out at my large, beautiful backyard and the canyon across the other side of the canyon. But make your workspace brighter. If you are on Zoom quite a bit and somebody says, you know, your room is really dark, you might want to get one of those little round lights at Amazon. They sell them for $10, $15, and it brightens up your face and your area. But it also, if you don't, even using it for Zoom, it's a direct light on what you are doing. I have another regular light on the left-hand side, and I can turn it on. And it really doesn't make that much difference. If it's dark at night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would turn this one on the right, and it would just brighten up everything and make it so much easier for me to see. And you could see my flat screen TV is on the right over there, but I have it set up so the paper laser printer paper just goes right between the legs. But again, these are relatively inexpensive. You can also use the narrator. It will read what is on your screen. You can use it in Microsoft Office products. You can use it on all of the browsers will read the page to you. You don't have to sit there and squint. You don't have to put your nose up against your monitor. It will read it for you. You just have to choose it and sit back and relax. I find with narrator, when you create something and you've tweaked it 2 or 3 times, you end up reading yourself what it should be. I find if I listen to my document or my presentation, I'll go, oh, that's the wrong word. I need to change that. So you can use it for that. But you've got 30 options to customize. You can customize it every way but the kitchen sink to use it exactly. You can choose the voice. Do you want English David? Do you want a woman? You can change the voice speed. They're talking too fast and you just can't understand them. You can just move that bar down. You can change the pitch, the volume. You're not only low vision, your hearing is shot. You can change the volume all the way up. So it helps with your RSI because you can also talk to your computer and it will be typing away in front of your very eyes. Back in the day, we would not be caught dead using words speech recognition program. It literally did not work. And I think with Windows 7, it finally, after all this time, came of age. And you just do a few practice sentences. It learns your voice. And you can do Windows key, the control key plus S. And remember, you have the sticky keys on. So you tap the Windows key, the control key, and the S key, and boom, start talking to it. And you practice with it. So you get the cadence on, don't talk too fast because then it starts garbling up. But again, it's something that can help you with low vision, and your wrists get tired. I have arthritis where my thumbs meet the palms of my hands, or the top on both hands. And it's not to the point where it bothers me, but it's there. And if it got to be that it wasn't comfortable for me to type, I could use this. And I would be a happy camper. And you can use a headset with a microphone. I just would use my Zoom webcam here. When I played with it with my laptop, I just used the microphone that worked with that. And again, you just practice it. And there's something for you to practice with. Peter dictates to his computer. He prefers it to typing, and particularly prefers it to pen and paper. And if you can get the person on the other hand to type that out exactly how you say it, then it's going to be able to recognize your voice. And again, it's just fun. It's fun to use. You're tired, you don't really want to type anything. You can just sit back in your chair and tell your computer, I want these words on the screen in front of me. And that was all Windows 10. This tells you everything that I talked about in Windows 11, because of course they have changed the names of things, so to speak, but they also have put it in different areas. So you will get a copy of this presentation as a PDF. And that's their accessibility. And here's closed captions. You can do everything but the kitchen sink with this. Look at all, you can have magenta closed captions if you want to. And you can have opaque, translucent. You can choose the font, small caps, cursive. Ooh, I don't think I want cursive. And 50% to 200%. I think if you had 200%, it would probably cover up too much of your screen. And that you can have different colors. Again, the whole 9 yards. And this tells you how to do it. And the default, that's good enough for me. And in order to set up your closed captions on some of your browsers, you do need to set it up in Word first for some reason. Go to the 3 dots in Chrome, accessibility, and say, please turn on live caption. With Firefox, they require an extension that you have to download. Edge, again, is the 3-dot menu. And when I did it, I listened to my favorite song on YouTube with closed captions, and it was fun. But if you are a fan of YouTube, not all of them are set up for closed captions. I don't know why, but you're in for disappointment if you want to see the words go by so you can sing along with them. They're not going to be there. But all of these online conferencing programs all have closed captions. And like I said before, I was so happy when Zoom finally got their act together and didn't want somebody listening and talking that would be the closed captions. If you hear better in one ear than the other one, you can turn your volume up with your left ear, your right ear, however you want to do it. And for hearing in Windows 11, there's the 3 links to working with this kind of stuff in Win 11. That's what it looks like. And his dexterity and mobility. And using a screen reader to explore and navigate the start menu in readers. Click on this. If you have Windows 11, it will take you right where you go to set it up. You set it up, you have the same thing that we all just talked about and saw. Smartphones. We all have smartphones. I did it mostly on iDevices. I had a Android Pixel. Absolutely loved my Android Pixel. After I was finished with this presentation, I said to all of my kids and grandsons, I have 5, they all have iPhones. Mom was the outlier. I have always had an Android. And I said, let me know when somebody's getting a new phone and can I have your old one? Well, daughter number 2, it was time for her singleton son to get his new, very expensive iPhone because he only had the best. So Grammy got his 2-year-old one that was the very best at the time. And I went, yes, I don't have to pay for it. But it has all of the accessibility stuff built in. And boy, do they have a lot. Hear what's happening on your screen. VoiceOver Braille. In case you need Braille, there it is. It's got one of those magnifiers, just like I talked about. You can have almost any text read aloud to you. You can get full screen magnification. You can decrease the on-screen movements because they are driving you crazy and you're having problems trying to read things because things are going here and going there. You can watch movies with detailed audio descriptions of every scene. You can use the dark mode if that is your preferred view. And of course, Siri can help you do everything but the kitchen, wash your dishes for you. You can use hearing aids, sound processor, designed specifically for all of your iDevices. Same thing with headphones. It's got sound recognition. It listens for and alerts you to certain sounds and alerts, such as a fire alarm or a doorbell. Live listen, you have better conversations in loud places like the restaurant, someplace like that, where there's, especially since so many of the restaurants have open ceilings now because they think it looks so cool and it makes everything reverberate when you're trying, all around the room, the sound. You can have sensory alerts, whether they're visual or vibrating, incoming calls, LED flash, or displays a photo of the caller, a gentle tap every time a notification comes in. Again, mono audio, real-time text, sends a text message as you are composing it. It kind of learns over time how you phrase your words. It's like, when you're doing an email these days, you're going to get ready to type a word and, oh, look, they suggest that word there. Yeah, I'm just going to use that one. It's kind of the same thing. You can use a finger to scribble letters on display and it will turn into typed text. Again, it's got closed captions. It's got noise app. Helps identify when the levels could negatively affect your hearing. That's when you're standing next to your grandkids and they've got their phone pressed against their ear and you can hear that music blasting out of their whole entire head. And you say, that's not good for your hearing. Oh, Grammy. Spoken content, typing feedback, and there's that predictive test, this text. This is what we thought that you were going to want to add. Click, swipe, tap, interact with your favorite apps with your voice. Navigate with just one tap, back tap. An assistive tap, pincher tap doesn't work for you. Swap them with the gesture that does or create a touch that's all your own. On-screen accessibility touch keyboard, again, just like you can have in Windows. You can add a hardware keyboard. In my case, if I did that, it would be an ergonomically correct one. Dictation, talk wherever you would normally type. You don't have to use your fingers. You don't have to use your hands. You don't have to use your wrists. And again, there's that predictive text. I added today SOS. And we have something called Angeles Crest Highway in our area. It's above Pasadena, etc. And it's a 2-lane road. And every once in a while, somebody goes off the road. And we have had several people be rescued by the SOS that has just come out. They have an iPhone 14, and it works when there's no cell or Wi-Fi coverage. And every once in a while, we'll hear on the news, such and such and so, car went over the side, this option did its thing, and the rescue folks came and pulled them out of the wreck and up. Or the last couple, we've had hikers. They've been out hiking when it's too hot and they shouldn't have been, and they have been rescued. Helicopter has come out, they're in some place that's not accessible. Helicopter has come out, picked them up, and flown them off. So if you happen to have an iWatch, Series 4 Plus, I hope you have the hard fall detection set up. I also have an iWatch to go with my iPhone, and it taps you on the wrist, or it sounds an alarm, an alert. And again, it's something that if you fall down, which is why I got it. I'm here by myself with 2 cats. I laughingly tell my children, I could fall over, you know, hit my head and be gone, and my cats would eat me before my kids, who think I'm going to live forever, ever wonder why they haven't heard from mother. So I think this is a way cool app to have. There is an Android accessibility suite. You get it at the Play Store. It has many, many of the things that the iPhone does. The reason I converted to an iPhone, because it's already with the phone. If you have a Samsung phone, which is what Bill James has, those are built in. They're Samsung accessibility features, and they're built in. But regular, Android phones, you have to go to the Play Store, download the accessibility suite, and then get going with everything that's there. Peripherals. I love this mouse. It's 2.0 trackball, and this is for people who lack fine motor skills to use a mouse, or the mouse is just too small. They cannot figure out where the mouse buttons are. They can't see well enough to get it. And when I updated this presentation, it used to be $85. This was in my box of show and tell stuff. I started out having a parent participation preschool. So we did a lot of, little guys bring your, stuff to share and tell us all about it. And I did the same thing in kindergarten. And this was always in my show and tell box for my students. They were all adults, many were seniors. And I said, when you can't see very well anymore, your wrist hurts, you might want to think about getting one of these. So remember this one. And here's a different one. This is the kind that I use. I love Logitech anything, but you just put your hand up there. You're not moving it around. You have a mouse pad that you rest your wrist on, and your wrist goes straight ahead, and you just use your thumb and move the ball around. And somebody asked me one time, okay, Judy, now, is there a mouse syndrome? And I said, as a matter of fact, it is. It's just like the RSI with, your wrist. But yes, you can get the same kind of thing from overusing your thumb. Wouldn't you know? There's different kinds of RSI relief masks. Those are a lot less expensive, but like I say, I like Logitech stuff. Now, remember the mouse that had the yellow ball? When I was helping a computer lab at a retirement community up here, I would go in every Thursday, and one of my buddies from Long Beach came up and set up all the networking for the computers and all that good kind of stuff. And I'd be there for 2 hours on Thursday afternoon. If anybody needed help, wanted to come up and send an email, and they didn't know how to do it when, they could go to the computer lab anytime, but they were clueless. They would wait until I was there. And then I taught some mini classes. There was one guy who was my main contact, and he was losing his eyesight. I got him that top keyboard. and that mouse with the yellow ball. He said, thank you very much, because it allowed him to use his computer for over a year more than they had said, you're going to lose the ability to use your tech stuff. And he wasn't having any of that. So those two things gave him a year of loving what he was doing with his computer. And there's a backlit computer. I prefer the one on the top. And you can see how much bigger it is and how much easier everything is to see. I bought mine at the Braille Institute in downtown LA, but you can get them on Amazon. And this was also in my first night of introduction to computers and Windows. I hauled out that mouse. I hauled out this keyboard as something that they just needed to know was there if they ever had to use it. But it shows you how much bigger and how much everything is easier to see. Well, the president of the local group who named the presentation uses a laptop. He can't see for beans. So he went on Amazon and he found stickers. That's his Chromebook on the right-hand side. And he peeled those little darling stickers off and put them there because, by golly, he wanted to use his Chromebook. He really loved it. He now has also a Samsung laptop. He has done the same thing with that. He does not want to give up using his technology. And if you notice the notes on the left, to the left of the mouse pad, those are something that Chromebooks don't have all the keys that we normally have on a keyboard. So those are keyboard shortcuts that help him. And you'll notice that the type is quite large, and he's happier than a clam. This is a wave keyboard. If you take your hands and you put them down by your side and you pull them up really quick, you will notice that your hands are curving in. They are not. A whole bunch of people, they're not straight out. Well, when you are using a keyboard, your hands are straight, not our natural curve. This is curved. And purple's not everybody's thing. I don't even think that's my favorite color. My bedroom is purple, but I don't use my computer in my bedroom. And I'm in the family room and it's earth tones. But that is a true ergonomically correct keyboard. You could see how her hands are curved. It takes you a while to get used to that. And you can see it as compared to the normal keyboard. And down below is the Microsoft one. When I was at Cigna and I had tennis elbow, I got myself one of these and I can't use it. It killed my elbows. It was sticking my elbows out. And when I type now, my elbows are clamped right next to my body. So I thought, so much that doesn't work for me. But you never know unless you try it. And of course, if you buy from Amazon, you can return it if it doesn't work. Just keep the packaging. Dragon. A lot of people have used Dragon as a magnifier and a reader for them. And it's $200. I'm saying the magnifier and the readers that come with your operating systems work just as well as this, and you're not out an additional $200. But there are also screen magnifiers that you can hook on that make everything larger. If you have a 24-inch monitor and you would like to see everything on it larger, it's going to cost you $126. I have a 27-inch and I can see like a hawk with a 27-inch. If you have hearing aids, you can connect your hearing aids to your iPhones, your Android phones, TVs, tablets, everything but the kitchen sink. Apple is a little bit ahead of Android on the stuff that they have, of course, patented specific Bluetooth connectivity with hearing aids for all of their devices. And they are made specifically for iPhones. I found this article last night. Actually, it was like 2 o'clock this morning. Smartphones and hearing aids, the best of them for both Android and iOS. And if you think this is something that you would like to do, something that you need. And then on one of them, there was a video on how to pair everything all together. I know 2 people that use this. The president of the group that can't see, can't hear, the only thing he can do is smell. He uses this Opticon hearing aid solution, and he absolutely swears by it, as does a member of the Senior Center Advisory Council Board, and he sells real estate. And how in the world can you sell real estate if you can't hear the customers? Well, I interviewed him. He knows absolutely nothing about technology, hardly nothing. And he did a good job of telling me how he uses it. It obviously was easy enough for him to set up himself. And the one thing that both guys said was, don't lose the charger. And this is a device that hangs around your neck. And the one on the left would be what the guy for the advisory council, he was dressed in a shirt and tie at a minimum when he was working with his customers and stuff like that. The other guy, he would, luckily, if he had a t-shirt on home, but so he just wore the lanyard thing. And so this is just another option. And they both, like I said, they both swore by this, and it was the easiest thing. And it made everything so easy for them to hear. Jim used it for the computer, and Steve used it for listening to his customers talking with him when he was showing people. Because if he did not have this, he had to take somebody with him that could then speak up more loudly than the customer could when he was showing them a house. And I heard you guys talked about Alexa and all that good kind of stuff. They're good. Alexa and my G friend that's over here, they can help quite a bit with people who have challenges, accessibility, just need extra help with stuff. So there's 2 links you can click on and just see what they basically offer. But home automation is fantastic because you don't have to look for the switch. You don't have to squint to see if it's on or off. You just say, and I can't, hey, my G friend here, turn off the light, the family room lights, turn on the family room lights, turn on the garage light. I am perfectly capable of opening my door from the kitchen to the garage, reaching around and flipping the switch. I just think it's way cool. I want to age in place. So I have it set up that I can do a whole heck of a lot of things with my device here. And more all the time. Again, Bill James, his house is completely home automation. His Pebble barbecue, his lights that he can change for Christmas colors outside, his sprinklers. He didn't need it. He had a sprinkler system that worked just fine, but he got one that he could talk to via Wi-Fi. He has Sudsy and Bounce. Sudsy is his washing machine, and Bounce is his dryer. And Sudsy says the laundry's done. And that means he should get up and walk into where they are and put them up and put them in the dryer. The only thing my dryer does is it keeps refreshing, and then it gives up that I don't go in and take care of it. So think about home automation as much as you can, whether you go with Miss A or Mr. G. Not only is it extremely beneficial, it's fun. I'm not to the point where I need this stuff, but it's just so cool to walk down the hall. And if I'm just going to the bathroom in the hall, have the lights on when I get there. Or if I'm going to bed at night and I've turned off the lights in the family room, I do that in the arch going into the hall to go to the back of the house. And I'll turn around and face my family room and say, turn them off. and I'll turn back and I'll just have them turn my bedroom lights on. And I don't stumble, I don't fall, I don't do anything like that because my way is lighted by the fan lights in my bedroom and also in my bathroom. So if you haven't had a presentation on home automation, Bill James gives an excellent one. And I am going to stop sharing my screen and let me know if you have any questions. Just remember to unmute yourself. Mr. Goldberg.
Two comments where you were talking about the various home automation tools that you can give instructions to. Same for Siri. I use it to turn lights on and off. It's same as you. I can reach the light switches, but I can turn the lights on and off before I come into a room or after I leave the room. So that's safer. I can do it with both hands full. So that's convenient. With the Apple ecosystem, we have a whole bunch of iDevices, iPad, iPhone. I have an Apple Watch, and we have 3 Apple HomePods scattered throughout the house. And so I can tell my watch, hey, you know who, intercom, talk to my watch, and what I've said comes out of all of the speakers. I can also do that remotely. So while I'm driving home from somewhere, I can talk to my watch and tell my wife that I'm coming home. And when we're coming home together, as we're getting close, I can talk to the watch and tell it to turn the lights on. And so when I get home, the lights are on. And so, you know, we're just dabbling in what is called home automation, but it's a powerful productivity tool. When I go down to the basement to exercise, while I'm on the stairs, I turn on the light. And so it's light by the time I get to the bottom of the stairs. The other comment that I wanted to make is on dictation. Again, using the Apple devices, iPad and iPhone, dictation is just wonderful. It's not perfect, and it will sometimes create wowzers, really extraordinary and sometimes hilarious typos. So accepting what it takes for dictation verbatim and sending it can either be dangerous or amusing. I have one friend with whom I don't bother correcting the flaws in dictation. I let him figure out what I meant, because he knows when something is incoherent. He knows that that wasn't me, that was my assistant making mistakes. But the other thing that I wanted to say is that I have 2 pages of punctuation shortcuts, so that when I'm dictating, I can add commas and new paragraphs and bolding and quotes and anything that you can do on a keyboard, and probably more than you can do on a keyboard, you can do with voice commands to the device. And so I haven't managed to memorize them all, but I try to learn 1 or 2 every now and then. And it really does enhance the dictation because it helps the punctuation and just the flow of what you're saying to look much more natural for you.
Do you share that list?
I found it by searching.
Oh, it's not your list. Okay, I can find it. Got it.
Right. Well, there's a whole bunch of them online, 1 or 2 pages just summarizing it all. But you know, the obvious search, Siri dictation punctuation, will find it.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. LW Tech, you're on. Unmute yourself. You're already unmuted.
You are unmuted, please. That's us in the room.
I know.
One of the suggestions that Judy came up with, which is really excellent, is after you dictate it, and I'm starting to do more, is to use the narrate feature to read it back to you. Because as you say, you've read it 2 times and you're fed up with it. But the idea that having somebody else read what's actually on the page makes a world of difference. So I think we should, once we get used to the idea of narrating, and same as with your Word and PCs, Apple allows you, it has a quick keyboard that it switches from keyboard to dictation. But yeah, even when, especially when you get up to 90 and 95% accurate. It's
Mhm.
those things that just make you look. That's strange. That we have background noise that just make you look ridiculous.
And I also use Grammarly. I'm responsible for sending what we call push articles out to groups that have editors, and they're written by, I don't write them, but like the yous and me's of the world in our user group population. And you'd be surprised. People are lousy writers. And I run everything through Grammarly, and there'll be an article somebody will send me, and there'll be 105 things that need to be changed.
Wow.
So, you know, if you have something that absolutely has to be the best that it can possibly be, then you're going to want to download Grammarly. I pay for mine, but it's free. And it just sits in your word processing program, and it works in your emails. You should have that kind of function in your browsers. So when you use a particular email program, it works there. But, you know, it's usually too many commas, no comma, there, things like that, or it will rewrite things. And when it rewrites things, oh my gosh, it just makes it so much more clear. And none of the people who write these articles seem to care. In fact, I hear from one guy who sends me 7 or 8 at a time, and he says, just do your thing, okay? It's okay by me. So obviously, he has read an article he has done that I have fixed. But again, if you want yours to be really spiffy, Grammarly.
Thank
And
you.
they keep telling me I use so many more different words than regular people do. It's because I talk tech talk. You know, and they're not, you know, they're regular words to us, but to the other people, they're really different words. And I get a kick out of that. Do we have any more questions? I love questions. I used to tell my students first night of class when I asked if they had any questions and they didn't. When you ask that of preschoolers and kindergartners, they have questions. And they participate. And I said, seniors don't like to ask questions because they don't want to be perceived as being dumb. There are no dumb questions. There are no stupid questions. There are clarifying questions. And I say the same thing at our Wednesday workshops. And I tell them, I can see people in those little squares when somebody asks a question and they're going, they didn't have guts enough to ask that question. Jerry, you're on.
Yeah, no real question, just a big thank you. What a wonderful presentation that you gave for our group here. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
And there's stuff that I didn't talk about, but it's how to make sure you have all the accessibility features on Edge, Chrome, and Firefox set up.
Yeah. Ellen is here and she has a question.
So for the voice recognition.
Yep.
When you do the voice recognition on the Apple, you can save it, let's say in a lab situation, can you save the file? You're training it to your voice. Do you save a file
No,
like you did with Dragon?
if you're doing it in a setting like us here, that would be a problem
Right,
because it doesn't.
right,
Because it doesn't remember it locally, it remembers it tagged to your iCloud
Right,
account,
right.
for instance. So if you're not tied into your iCloud, we'll work on that.
okay, no, but at home you can.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, okay,
And it doesn't really save it, what it does, it approximates better
right.
as you get better. And I don't know if when they do that, if it remembers the corrections you manually make after. I doubt it, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify, maybe when I dictate, I'm dictating someplace that I would otherwise have been typing. So if I'm sending a text, I can either type it or speak it. If I'm sending an email, I can type it or speak it. If I'm working on a file, I can either type it or speak it. So if you could save it, if you typed it, you can save it when you speak it. It's speaking is just equivalent to typing. It's just a different way to put in the text.
And one of the things that Apple users can always do is there is a function called notes, which is the simplest of word processing. And you just, start a note. If you like what you see, you can copy and paste it
Right.
back. And you can do your editing out of that.
Mhm.
I think there are some editors where you can actually go into a mode where it says this word, make a modification to it. And I've never used that, but I'm told that they've gotten sophisticated enough to do that.
Mhm.
My last thing is we had yesterday a very successful and enlightening Wednesday workshop on the ABCs and XYZs of artificial intelligence. One of the gals from the the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation in Florida asked, how can AI best help people with disabilities? The extra handout I'm sending is the results. And there's 15 ways that ChatGPT says, I can help you with this. Assistive communication, augmentative and alternate communication, mobility assistance, visual impairment assistance, real-time translation, smart home integration, accessible contact, personal learning, prosthetics and orthotics, cognitive support, empowering independent living, emotional support, health monitoring, accessibility auditing, and empowering creativity. So if you are into AI and you say you want something extra on visual impairment assistance, you could use those in the prompt to have ChatGPT tell you what, and I always say, he or she is talking about. So I found that was very interesting. And I asked the presenter to make sure that I got it. And he sent me a whole bunch of stuff that he had had ChatGPT look up, for want of a better word. And he didn't send that. So I installed the free ChatGPT in the middle of the night last night and asked the same question and got the same 15 things that he got on Wednesday during the presentation. So that's another layer of help is this new AI stuff.
And thank you for the captions for the presentation. Thank you so much.
Yes. And again, I was not aware that they were this good at this point. So many thanks for that.
Yeah, it should be on all the time. It's like John Kennedy almost always says at every Wednesday workshop is he can't stand them. He doesn't like to see everything pops up that he's saying, so he turns it off. I turn it off, but we have several people who use it, and I'm just glad that Zoom finally got their act together. Really. And I don't know that anybody other than you, Jerry, attends our Wednesday workshops. Gabe does.
Yeah, ours are often distributed to our mailing list of 300 plus people, and I check it every now and then, and a few people sign in. I find them exceptionally interesting, and the one you were referring to yesterday was just a knockout. That was incredible, absolutely incredible.
It's the workshop that everybody, it's a presentation everybody that's interested in AI should look at first, because it really tells you the overview. The other presentation we had went right into this is how you use it, and you're going to use what? What are you talking about? I have no clue. blah, blah, blah. But this one told you exactly how it worked, and on and on and on. I was so impressed with Adam's presentation.
Yes, I can hardly wait till it comes up on YouTube because I'd like to be able to show it to a couple of people. Actually, if that's okay.
Oh, that's what it's there for.
What was really fascinating was the demonstration he did with the little poems and the stories, and that was just phenomenal. Absolutely.
Well, Bill James had promised me, he said, "You want me to put a little presentation together?" And I said, absolutely. I wanted him to show his email, and he calls and reads the emails to us that he sends out on the message under his president's name. We just laugh hysterically because they are so funny. Because the problem with Chat GPT is it uses words we don't use. And I don't know where it's getting its stuff, but its stuff is only up to 2021, whereas Bard and Microsoft Bing is current, and Bing is just their version of Chat GPT. And we just laugh because this is no more anything that Rodney would do. But again, it has, it uses, again, highfalutin words that a lot of people wouldn't even have a clue what it meant. So I go, you need to change that word. Oh, you need to change this one too. And he has written, and he was supposed to show, he's written many poems, one about Oklahoma tornadoes, right after when it happened, and haiku and different formats. And he was supposed to put that together and he forgot, which is the story of his life these days. And I was so disappointed. And I love the resume lady that I got the information. I could pass it on to the junior college teacher.
Yes.
Ellen has another question.
Thank you.
About audio description,
Yes, go ahead.
it's about audio description and how is that embedded in?
The audio description you're talking about is in YouTube or in other things? Judy?
Are you talking about closed captioning in videos and things like that? Or
Well-
closed captioning, period?
Or to textualize a movement that's not spoken.
Okay, Gabe, can you answer that?
Is that, how can that be embedded in the caption?
I'm sorry, I had
Oh,
tuned
it
out.
does-
What was the
it's-
question?
It's not embedded in the captions. It's just embedded in whatever you're looking at. If you evoke that on your iPhone, that has nothing to do with closed captions.
Low
Yes,
vision, blind.
Movies have for a long time had, in addition to closed captioning, they have something for hearing or visually impaired, which gives a
Right.
description of what's on the
Right.
screen. So those are commercial movies. I don't know if it goes down to other things beyond commercial movies.
Okay,
And that's an option. You can even turn on it in television.
okay.
It's among the accessibilities.
Okay.
And that.
I have a problem watching TV with the shows that have the wonderful sounds, music going, which is totally unnecessary. So I have closed captioning on my TV here, just in case the music is too loud. And I don't want, if it's not going to do me any good to turn the sound up because the music is just going to get louder. And every once in a while, I just glance over and I'll read something that I'm not hearing because the music is too loud. And I love the music is redundant. It is not necessary to prove a point or anything. And I like, who is it? Dick Wolf.
Yes.
He loves music with all of his stuff, really loud music. It's driving me crazy. But I have it on my TV. My complaint is I would like it up in the upper left-hand corner where you don't see words, because they'll show you something scrolling and it's going under your closed caption and you can't see it.
We have another question?
I have a hard time understanding people who are speaking English with an accent.
Yes, and some of the those extra devices, well, they will make it louder. And I don't know, is there anything from dialect, garbled English to real English that you know are aware of, Judy? I've never heard of such a thing.
It's not, but in what context? Are you calling somebody for technical support?
Just ordinary on the phone conversations.
Oh, so just somebody that's a
I
friend of yours and you can't understand what they're
I
talking
get
about?
the question and they answer it, but I don't know what they're saying.
You just always say, will you please repeat that? I'm having a problem understanding you.
Yeah.
And like if it's offshore technical support, I'll ask to speak to a supervisor. That way I don't insult them. I don't tell them I'm clueless, but some of them have very quiet voices. And if they, and they're women and they just have quiet little voices, and there's no way you can turn your phone up loud enough, because then you'll get the next one and they'll be talking in a normal tone of voice and you can understand them with no problem at all. But I'll ask to speak to a supervisor.
This is the DC area, everyone is coming from all kinds of different countries.
Yes,
Mhm.
There are phones with captions
There-
now.
are there?
There are, and I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but
Right.
Okay.
Well, your iPhone has captions,
Yeah, voicemail.
and then
or
No,
if you have an Android phone, it has captions. You
it
just have
does.
to turn it on.
Yeah, you just have to find it on your smartphone, if you're talking on the smartphone.
Mhm.
Oh, it's already
Yeah.
on there?
It's already built in, you just have to activate it.
and then you can call
I didn't know that.
the relay too. That's I
And
guess
of course,
the way too.
and there is relay for the day. Where there's an intermediary doing the calculation.
The
Yeah, try it.
deaf
Typically,
community.
by the way, here at the center, when we have people who need help from a third party, we invite them to come and we'll do the help, because it's not that the accent is so terrible, but the jargon is so convoluted that ordinary people just have not got, and it'll take me, and I've done this for a while, 5 or 6 tries to understand what exactly are you getting at. I mean, is it something that's in these settings, or is it, so yes, there's that sort of thing, but, find out, check on your phone about doing, and what did you call the technology? The technique, Judy, to put text from while you're real-time text while you're on a call,
It's closed caption.
closed caption. Right. And you can always do a search on that, and it'll give you
Yeah,
indications of
somebody-
what it is, what's offered, and how you activate it. Typically, these things are made to be activated quickly once you've done the setup. Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions before we let folks go? And thank you all for attending. We've been recording it, so hopefully when we get the website up, we will be able to display it. And Judy, you will be sending us the background information so we can distribute it to the attendees, since we don't send it, and we do not yet have a way of logging attendees or logging people to the final to finally receive the URL. So you have to contact us directly if you want the additional information. Thank you, Judy.
James iPad, I fixed your name for you. I couldn't help myself.
Thank you so much.
James.
Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.